Asinibusele sinamukele maswahla mahle seyibumbene isimbe sithupha lomhla ekseni lokusho kona kuqala kwehlelo lakho lolithanza kakhulu ikusile breakfast show sibonga ukuthi nikhethe kuvuka nathi lomhla ekseni tilishumi nakubili enyangeni yelwethu umnyaka ngo-2024 libito lami ngingulungelele magagolo sethemba ukuthi niphilile lomhla ekseni sibonga nje ukuthi umdalo siphephisile sade sabona lilanga lanamuhla ama-temperatures ke endangathi ayehlala muhla kakhulu kade nje lapha eMbabane sivuka kune fog khona lapha eMbabane highest temperatures nje lomhla ekseni namuhla elangeni lanamuhla kutabe kungu-19 degrees Celsius khona lapha eMbabane kepha ke sicala nje ilanga lelifu lomhla ekseni kunetindzaba lesitaditeka lapha ehlelweni sabe sibona nje tindzaba mental health kanye netindzaba gender based violence ikakhulukati kubo babe niyasibona nje tindzaba suicide seminingi imibiko levelako yabantu abasishaka emhlabeni ngokuthi bayatibulala ngekusho kwamaphoyisa nje about 110 suicide cases have been reported from January until August this year lokuke kuvele embikweni amaphoyisa Real Eswatini Police Service statistics ayivela ukuthi the increase of number of people taking their own lives compared to the same period in 2023 inyukile. During the same period in 2023 there were 97 recorded suicide cases. This is an increase of 13.4%. Amaphoyisa akavela ukuthi a majority of those who committed suicide in the past 8 months were men. And according to the police report, people aged 25 years and above are the ones who take their own lives. Out of the 110 reported suicide cases, 85 were males and 25 were women. Clinical psychologist Ndomdlalose udasishena lomhla via Zoom kusivetela nje sifomise ukuthi ingabe lena ndzaba singayilungisa kanjani ngitiplate inkinga vele leti sicinzetela ekutheni sifike lapho sibona ukuthi singathatha impilo tethu nokuthi nje ngabe vele kuyangani ukuthi bobabe baticibethile leti inkinga leti bangakhoni ukukhuluma ngato. And then later we'll be joined in the studio by Executive Director at Kwakha Sonic Dlamini atokhuluma ke nge-male gender-based violence, which is a silent crisis lapha eveni. Kwakha has always emphasized on engaging men in gender-based violence conversations. What platforms do they have for such discussions and are they impactful? Sava konke logo kuye Sonic Dlamini longo Executive Director. Manje sibuke nathi lethamba imbili kumaphephandzaba. Asibuka Eswatini Observer kulethamba imbili lomhla kungolesibili. Leading headlines, namhla ekseni phase 2 sowing division as what has prevented implementation. Government fails to give clear answer and says governments will return with responses. Kanti logo kusho CJ. In other news, MP Madala wants RSTP audited and a man found dead with gaping wound by doorstep. Those are pictures from prom night Escolas St. Michael's. Antinasibuka temidlalo kweSwatini Observer lomhla kungolesibili. Rabba rescues Boo, says he is only lending a helping hand. Ali says team must not be run like an orphanage. Given says I cannot thank you enough. Mbabane Swallows attacking midfielder Xolisi Given Lukele has thanked all football stakeholders for the support he received while at his lowest ebb. In other news, it was my first time watching Mbabane Derby. Injured Mbabane Swallows player Given said he enjoyed watching the Mbabane Derby and it was his first time. Kanti nasibuka Eswatini Daily News leti hamba imbili lomuhla. Leading headlines, the FDB has invested 15.2 billion amalangeni in Eswatini. That is a picture of the Minister of Finance, Neil Rakenberg, emsebenzini lobobanjelwe itolo with Leila Mokadam, a Hilton Garden Inn hotel. In other news, exports surged by an impressive 12.1%. And this is according to the ministry. Rabba rescues Highlanders. Former Highlanders managing director Peggy Rabba Smilane assisted the club during the recent games against Buffaloes and Swallows as internal power struggles rages on at the Black Bull Crow. Local swimmer Siwakile off to Australia. Kanti Gule Pereira replaces Amorim at Sporting. It's 5 minutes after 6 ngilethu lethamba imbili kumaphephandaba sitabahlolete emakethe nasibuya sathatha indaba deswati.
A show where we interview inspirational young professionals who are making a real impact in their industries and reshaping our world. This is Young Climber.
My dream and my mission is to be a tangible example of a dream realized. You don't choose where you are born, of course, but you decide where you end up.
Our conversations spark ideas, fuel ambition, and elevate your career path. These are the stories that change your perspective on life, conversations that shape entrepreneurs and move careers forward. If you are serious about your career development, you can't afford to miss this show. Join me, Tabelo Dlamini, every Tuesday at 6:30 for Young Climber, where every episode could be your next big breakthrough.
Asibenze sinivusele sikumukela nalo sanza kuzivulela nathi indzaba tekucala. Umthonishi wandvunankulu Russell Dlamini sewufikile enhlokodolobha yelive le-Azerbaijan iBaku lapho ayomelela khona ingonyama inkosi Mswati wesithathu emhlanganweni wakamhlaba wekulwa negucuka kwesimo selitulu.
Nakefika ndvunankulu enhlokodolobha yelive le-Azerbaijan iBaku wemukelwe indvuna yetangephandle imphunga phulile Shakhantu. Indvuna yetekuvakasha umhlonishwa Jane Mkhonda kanye nendvuna yetisebenti umhlonishwa Phila Buthelezi. Kubheke kutsi ngalwesibili ndvunankulu angenele umhlangano webaholi bemave emhlaba lapho batawuteka khona tindzaba tekugucuka kwesimo selitulu. Kulo mhlangano walonyaka titawutekwa kabanti tindzaba tagesi lohlobile kumelana nekugucuka kwesimo selitulu kanye nekwesekela tinhlelo tekulwa nekugucuka kwesimo selitulu ikakhulukati emaveni lasathutfuka. Eminyakeni lophelile ku-COP28 evenile UAE, emave avumelana ngavilinye ukuthi ayaphuma ekusebenziseni ema-fossil fuels kanye nekufakwa kwemandla laphinziwe ekukhiciteni gesi longayinyukubeti imvelo. Kuleyo mhlangano kwephinziwe kwetfulwa ngalokusemthethweni isikhwama sekusita emave lashayeke kakhulu kulesimo i-Loss and Damage Fund. Baholi kubheka ukuthi baphindze babuke ukuthi ngabe emave emhlaba sahambe kanganani kushicilela zivumelwano lebasithatha ngeminyaka wa-2015 lisatiwa ngokuthi yi-Paris Agreement. Kanti-ke live le-Azerbaijan libamba lo mhlangano nje nanalo lithi litimisele kwehlisa tintfuthu limata lidwadwasi nga-40% ngeminyaka wa-2050 kanye nekwenyusa lizinga lekukhicita gesi lohlobile ngeminyaka wa-2030. Kulo mhlangano walonyaka kubheke ukuthi kuhlanyelwe imali lefikako ku-2 trillion US dollars etinhlelweni tekusita emave ukuthi kakhona kumelana nekugucuka kwesimo selitulu nekuthi-ke esekele tinhlelo tawo tekukhicita gesi longayinyukubeti imvelo. Umbiko ohlanganiswe nguLengtin Gule ngiseBaku eveni le-Azerbaijan.
Imvuna yelitiko letekuchumana nekwatisa imphunga Savana Maziya ithi kunesidingo sokuthi kucecesheke labo labafanele labatawukhona ukufundzisa ngebucala lobenteka kutekuchumana njengoba buyashintshashintsha. Imvuna ithi izivumelwano sekusebenzisana lesisayinwe leSwatini kanye nele-United Arab Emirates sitawusita ukuthi kube khona labaceceshwako kuleti tebucala bakubo ngcondvomshina. Imvuna beyikhuluma ePhalamende naye itfula umbiko wekusebenta kwelitiko layo embiko amalunga ePhalamende endlu yabayesikhulu labuke kusebenta kwalelitiko.
Indvuna yelitiko letekuchumana nekwatisa umhlonishwa Savana Maziya wetfulele emalunga ePhalamende endlu yabayesikhulu labuke kusebenta kwelitiko layo umbiko wekusebenta kwalelitiko libewuchaza ngetinhlelo litiko lebelitihlelele tona letiphumelele. Malunga ePhalamende yadvumisa umfutfo lofakwa litiko ekutfutfukiseni uhlangothi lwetekuchumana kuleli. Malunga ePhalamende kaphindze kabuta imibuto kuyo indvuna.
Kwangathi litiko lingafaka emehlo labanti latile endzabeni ye-cyber bullying. Cyber crime is something angathi ngayibida ngokuthi mhlambeni sanda nezo zongena elive ngendlela ebuhlungu kakhulu nasetikolweni.
Ngisengeva mina ngisho ilayisensi lekhishelwe ema-commercial radio nema-television. Kuthi nangalapho sibambele.
To be precise, naindzaba ka-RSTP. Kuyabonakala ukuthi there's so much lokungahambi kahle. Bengifuna nje kuchecka ukuthi kuloko lebakutholako kuyi-audit noma kwendekani.
Indvuna umhlonishwa Savannah Maziya ibe seyetfula timphendvulo taleminya imibuto.
The MOU lesiyisayine base UAE. Siqala ngokuthi we're going to send one person ayofunda ngalendzaba yokuthi how are they dealing with it. And then sangenise nama ministries, singenise na parliament ukuthi sikwadi ukuthi bani bayotraina kahle. And then singenise nasetikolweni ukuthi how does this work lendzaba ukuthi bothisha nabo they must know about the cyber security. Ngitinkundla and try and get to the point where we even train trainers. Sicele ngaFebruary walomnyaka lona ukuthi sithole itender for investigation of RSTP. Solo isenga awardwa. Kuyakutshela nje ukuthi kunetinkingana la sikhona khona. Kupene kungavani ngenza bayibompompo. Ibompompo akakhathwa nyalo. Kuphela at the end of 2026. Siyantshanja manje ukuthi be aware sesekuyeda ukuthi sotawukhathwa end of 2026. So siku awareness campaign bantu batokwadi. Bompompo une challenge because sifuna kufuthi kusuka lokhu 2G siye ku 4G 5G 6G angeke vele afike lapho.
Indvuna ithi litiko lide emandla iteka tindzaba letiphatselene nemaholo etisebenti letisebenta emsakatweni letimele. Tindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni nasikhumbuzo Dlamini Themba Shabangu naBongani Masuku ePhalamende.
Kanti ngakulokunye emalunga elikomiti lelibuke kusebenta kwelitiko letekuchumana afune kwati endvuneni ukuthi yini lekwentako kukhulumisa tindzaba letiphatselene emsakato wetitfombe Eswatini TV.
Lapha ka TV nginesikhalo lesikhulu Dvuna kumbe khona inilonga ukuchaze nje mbamba ngoba ngivile kungebantu abakhulu abasuspendiwe. Basuspendwa nje ngathi bebakhulumela lilunge lenkuva ngathi bekulilungelo labo. But basekhaya lokusikhuluma solo basuspendiwe leni akuqedwanga nakukhulunyiswa la akubitolani kukhulunywe phela kuvakala ukuthi yini lesilembangela noma ke nangabe khona labone khona batokwadi ngoba ngiyabelieve lokuthi litiko kufanele vele kubakuthole nangabe khona lokukwabo lobake bebe bakufuna. Ndvuna through you chair kukhona into ma motivate ngawo vele nje asesikhulume nje indzaba yetisebenzi ngoba litiko nangibuka liyagijima liyasebenza but ngaselishiye tisebenzi talo ngemuva.
Imvuna yetekuchumana imphunga Savannah Maziya ibese iphendvula lemibuto.
Ndzaba ka ESTV, my understanding, honorable members, is that kwaba ne internal process ye disciplinary, and before iphele or go its usual routing, laba suspendwa ngathi base baye enkantolo. Inkantolo yathi no buyani belele emuva kutophela le process. So we are in the process of doing that. I think it's important ukuthi we respect internal processes as a aphele. Sikhuluma ngekuthi i-BIS ayimejingani all this time kwenakalani. It's just because we don't have the money for the pensions. So the decision we've made, I said, listen, we're just going to do it. So sesikhwalo bahlobo sokhuma nabo siyoboleka and just do it and again sifekanye.
Emalunga ePhalamende labuke kusebenta kwelitiko letekuchumana endlini abayesikhulu yaTanzania kwati kuyo indvuna yetekuchumana imphunga Savannah Maziya ukuthi imvuna inabo yini budlelwane nebahleli betindzaba Editors Forum. Indvuna ibese yaveta ukuthi litiko linesifiso sekuthi betindzaba batilawule self-regulation.
Been working in the media forum for quite some time now, by self-regulation. We believe it's very important to have a media that is free and able to report on all matters. I consistently say kuma media houses masihlangana nabo ukuthi nababhala funa basho ukuthi cha Minister ICT weba imali bangathi ngomende wonke mubi. Balusukele lo weba le mali because nalama investors nasabona ukuthi sonke sibabi angiboni ukuthi ajika thawu siyafuna ukuthi angalapho. So that's number one. What we want to be able to do is we want Emma media houses, most of them, another ombudsman. So nababhale kabi somewhere, you can go to that ombudsman within the media house. Uthi bangibhale kabi la, I'm not happy. If we ungasi happy ngaloyo, we are going to have an appeals body that we as government are helping to set up right now. That's by media, the media houses, we are going to be able to contribute to that, but we can't contribute forever because we want it to be independent. So we're going to set it up. Even the media houses are struggling financially. I mean, one of the things that sometimes we must pause as government and appreciate is siyadingana imedia sinahulumende. Ngoba le media ngelo tshela lesive ukuthi sisebenza phi, ngibani lokuphi minister, singu-20 lapha e-cabinet, nani nibanengi lapha nimsebenzi wesive. But they manage somehow ukuthi basikhave in all the different areas. Sometimes it's good to acknowledge ukuthi ngena bo petrol, ngena ini now le staff, they are needing resources to be able to do that. Sometimes it's funa sikunake lokho, but continue to support where we can and continue to say lapho kungahambi kahle khona sikhulume. We've got a very good relationship with the Editors Forum. We actually have expanded it because I felt ukuthi incane ngicela ibe more inclusive, that everybody atoti khulumela. We continue to bring them together. Last week's by bring it together. So comments about appeals bodies it is ESCom to be able to say tabane broadcasting part when media media appeals body, so that everybody, whether it's from a regulator of telecoms or from the media side, you can be able to go to that situation.
Imvuna yelitiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla imphunga umfana Kusile ngokhokhela ithi ngenhloso yokuqinisekisa ukuthi itemcebo waphansi tifaka lokulinganiselwa ku5% kuya ku10% emnothweni welive. Uhulumende sewukhiphe imvumo yokusebenta nekwendala ucwaningo kulolu hlangothi. Imvuna yethi kwamanje lolu hlangothi lufaka lokungu-0.02% emnothweni wakuleli. Imvuna yekusho lokhu nayetfula sendvulelo sembiko wekusebenta kwelitiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla esigabeni sesibili seminyaka wemali yahulumende losetulu lowetfule ekomitini lelibuke kusebenta kwalelitiko endlini yabayesikhulu.
Ngemuva kwekuthi indvuna yelitiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla imphunga umthane Nkosi lonkhokhela yethule lesendulela mbiko lamanye emalunga lelikomiti abese aphosa imibuto.
Kuthumisa futhi ukuthi sesiproduce an electronic document lesetaba lula nje ukuthi kusheleshelwe ama-investors lamanyenti. Ingabe siyatini exactly ukuthi sinangakhi wema-mines la fully operational la kangwane nekuthi aqasha ngakhi exactly wemaswati.
Esera ucela mane suke lapha esera ahlale la tikweni la hulumende ngoza toba nalo ukuthi avele lamaswati kanyalo lesivele emphakathini noma le enkundleni engisuka kuyo bakhanza lo ukuthi esera uphakelwa nge-EEC.
Khaliwe kakhulu nje ngenzaba yokuphakama kwemandi kude lokungakhala even. Ngicela ukuthi ke vele minister nawusuka la hamba ukukhulumisana na water ubuyise ibill letawuthi asibane sibathole i-loan bill yokuthenga ama-prepaid meter.
Indvuna yetemcebo waphansi nemandla imphunga umthane Nkosi lonkhokhela ibese iyaphendula.
Nasalapha kahulumende nami ngasho ngimpithe ethi wena wentani manje say interference leyo incinye na wathasha na isambita kwente njani cha ukashe nje abe independent. I-ministry isebenzisana na water affairs seyihlanganise rural water na urban water. Sesine master plan yale live lonke kwekuthi emandi la atawuqhamuka kuphi kanjani live lonke besibhekile ukuthi by 2030 live lonke libe selinako emandi.
Indvuna yetemcebo waphansi nemandla imphunga umthane Nkosi lonkhokhela ibese ibonga emalunga lelikomiti ngekutsi ngidza lo mbiko welitiko layo yase ithembisa ukuthi letinye timphendvulo itatiletha ngalokubhalwe phansi. Etindzabeni te Eswatini TV ngumbongwa Dube nasikhumbuzo Dlamini kalobamba.
Imvuna yelitiko letempilo umhlonishwa Mduduzi Mathebula seyethembise ukuthi kutawuthi kufika Disemba kulomnyaka imithi etibhedlela itawube seyitfolakala cishe yonke. Imvuna yethi lokusebentisa kabi litiko yindzaba yokuthi labathengisela hulumende imithi leminye yale mithi abasakhoni kuyithenga ngesizatfu sekuthi hulumende utawuphuta kubhadala. Imvuna yethi kungumanje litiko linema-order labita 40 million emalangeni lajikisiwe.
Ma-drugs sisukele kubo 32% saya kubo 61 and the target bahlonishwa ukuthi sibe plus 80 by December lwale nyanga letako. We will come back and report bahlonishwa sisebentela ukuthi sithi siyakhisimusi sibe sibangelele kubo 90% nasehlulekile. Ma-drugs ayakhona kudeliver siyawabona sizamile nakwenda emergency procurement of the life-saving drugs, the critical drugs, kwekuthi abe khona. Che lana kulendzaba yema-drugs letinkinga tiningi. Letinye tinkinga tibangelwa kwekuthi noma sibanikile lapha bekunene lama-order ukhanza ukuthi akusafiki konke. So ukhanza ukuthi abese bawakhansela lamanye lama-order. Ngokuthi ngeke bakhona kubhadaleka bangaqedzi lokudeliver. Abese ke bayakhansela, khanze sibadeliver 70%, sekushoda 30%. Kulo mnyaka lona alone cancelled orders ayendlula ku 40 million. Cancelled orders. Kusho ukuthi na cancel kufuna uphinze uqalele phansi le process again. Kuchubeka lesikhathi siyembili. Some of the problems abangwa ngema non-bids kuthi nakuphuma lama tender letinye into abati bideli nje sanhlobo. Bayatibuka nje. Bashiya kunjalo ne capacity yethu ke bahlonishwa njengalona nibona ukuthi letinye 70 ta suspendwa leti ngitona ta trainiwe kulomsebenzi sase sisala ke seside labata uchuba lomsebenzi ngeke futhi uba replace asaphenda lamacala lenkantolo ngoba lama post aya exist sigcine ke sesiyakubona sesiyakubo ERS sesiboleka ngokuthi simane sibambele simo. So ne capacity yethu in terms of kufocus, in terms of lokugaya lo mshini wale supply chain nayo uyasifaka sandla ekwekuthi lo msebenzi asiwendi kahle ngesizathu se capacity.
Imvuna yelitiko letangephandle nedlelana nalamanye emave imphunga pholile Shakhantu seyithumise ebudlelwane lobukhona emkhatsini weleswatini kanye neRussia lobacala ngeminyaka wa 1999. Imvuna yethi lamave yabambisene etinhlangothini letfaya ekhatsi temfundvo, tekulima, tescience kanye netebuchwephesha.
Indvuna yelitiko letangephandle nekudlelana nalamanye emave imphunga pholile Shakhantu ibe nemhlangano nemlingani wayo welive leRussia umhlonishwa Sergey Lavrov lo indvuna yetangephandle bahlangene emhlanganweni lodzingidza tindzaba tekubambisana emkhatsini wemave ase-Afrika kanye nele-Russia. Kulo mhlangano waletindvuna imphunga Shakhantu itfumise ebudlelwane balamave lamabili losebufike eminyakeni lengu-25. Indvuna yithi lobudlelwano buthele titselo letinhle etinhlangothini letfaya ekhatsi temfundvo, tekulima, tescience kanye netebuchwephesha technology. Indvuna imphunga Shakhantu yithi leSwatini libheke embili ebudlelwaneni lobusetawutsela titselo letawenta kutsi lamave abambisane kutama kulwa netinkinga letibhekene nemhlaba. Imphunga Shakhantu iyingcenye yemhlangano wekubuka kubambisana kwele Russia kanye nemave ase-Afrika. Indvuna kulo mhlangano ikanye nendvuna yelitiko letisebenti tembuso umhlonishwa Mabulala Maseko. Umbiko uhlanganiswe ngisonto Mlangeni eMbabane.
Litiko letemisebenti lemikhulu nekutfutsa libambisene nelibandla lelibukete kuphepha emgwacweni selisungulele uhlelo lokubuketa kabusha umthetho wemgwaco wanga-1983. Mabhalane lomkhulu wetiko letemisebenti lemikhulu nekutfutsa Thulani Mkhaliphi uthi lo mhlangano imitamo yelitiko netinhlangothi labasebentisana nato bekucinisekisa ukuthi imithetho yemgwaco ingulecinile. Mkhaliphi uthi lokhu kutawuphindze futhi kucinisekise ukuthi le mithetho iba sezingeni yemithetho yemigwaco yakamhlaba.
Mabhalane lomkhulu etiko letemisebenti lemikhulu nekutfutsa Thulani Mkhaliphi uthi kumcoka ukuthi lonke leSwati lifake isandla ekwakhiweni kwalomthetho lomusha njengoba wonke umuntu ugcine awusebenzisile umgwaco.
Indzaba road safety tisezingeni elisetulu kakhulu umhlaba wonke nje ivele naka UN ingwenyama nje beyiyake yaya khona nanayo ke yafike yalifaka ligalelo lokukhuluma lemhlanganweni ukuthi silive silimaswati sitawuphakamisa ukuthi bantu baphephe emgwaqweni singawo ke lo msebenzi sitobukusana lokuthi singabeke singawuqinisa njani siyakusicale kuphi sibobani ama partners lesiwadzingako ukuthi wonke umuntu nje lo khona even akasifake isandla emzabeni taka road safety so lo mthetho lesitawufuna ukuthi siuqale siwulungisise ukukhulumisa tonke lendzaba leto ukuthi bantu labahamba ngetinyawo bantu labahamba ngetimotolo labashayelako labahamba ngemabhayisikili labahamba ngetidududu bangawufaka njani umuvo wabo labafuye tinkomo bangawufaka njani umuvo wabo la emzabeni taka road safety.
Sihlalo welibandla lelibukete kuphepha emgwaqweni Dr. Fortunate Shabalala uthi balibandla basebenta ngekulandzela tinhlelo takamhlaba letifaka ekhatsi i-Decade of Plan of Action lekhulumisa kutsi tingoti kubhekeke kutsi tehle ngalokungemashumi lasihlanu ekhulwini 50% nga-2030.
Umthetho wethu mdzala kakhulu ukhanza ukuthi nasifuna kwenta tindvo letinye ufike bese uyasigila singasakhona ukudenda singe-Road Safety Council. Sase-ke ngekubambiswa ngu-UNECA, United Nations Commission on Africa, Economic Commission on Africa. Sacela ukuthi basisite ukuthi sibukete lo mthetho kabusha ukuze kuthi utokhona lokuthi ungasikhanzi usiniketa tihibe nema-barriers ukuthi sikhone kwenta umsebenzi wethu ngalokufanele.
Dr. Shabalala uthi emva kwekubhala luhlaka lwekusebenta kwaleli bandla ngeminyaka wa 2023 lakuleli laphuma phambili kuSADC wonke ngekubhala luhlaka lwekusebenta lolusezingeni. Uthi kungaleso sizatfu kuthi lakangwane selikhetfwe kuthi libambe umncintiswano walabahambe embili kute kuphepha emgwaqweni iKofi Annan Road Safety Awards ngeminyaka lotako. Etindzabeni kubika Sethabile Mamba Anambongwa Dube ezulwini.
Kutemidlalo lokhulumela umsakazo wetitfombe Eswatini TV nomcebo malinga uthi bangumsakazo bayacwelisa isiveni kanye nekubalandzeli bemidlalo webhola kuthi lo msakazo ungakhoni kusakata bukhoma umdlalo we-MTN Premier League lobuse emkhatsini weMbabane Swallows neMbabane Highlanders ngelisonto. Lo msakazo uthembise sive ukuthi utawuletha lo mdlalo bukhoma.
Kube kuhlungu vele sisiteshi ukuthi siphumile satshela sive ukuthi ke silobe sisakata ibhola iMbabane Derby games which was very big in the country lapho khona bekudlala iMbabane Highlanders versus Mbabane Swallows. Lona ngomdlalo lesibone ukuthi ke October intokoto lenkulu sisiteshi ukuthi sikhona kusakata sakhona ukuthi sikhulumisane ke nama stakeholders ethu afakhathi yona iPLE ukuthi manje sibone ukuthi singabambisana njani ukuthi silethe nayi icontent lemgcoka esiveni ukuthi sithengise emaswati ilocal soccer. So unfortunately inkhulumeni tethu sikhulumile kwaba khona kuvumelana kwabese ke ngelast minute seqhamuka lokho kwelokuqhamukile ke lokho kwenta ukuthi umsakazo ungasakhona ukuchubeka ukuthi ke ayithengise bukhoma lo mdlalo njengoba bese sithembisile sive kumbe kusingo Eswatini TV kuphuma nje esiveni sithi sisiteshi siyaculisa kakhulu ukuthi singakhona ukuthi simtshengise lo mdlalo lomkhulu longaka sasasa libonile livele likhulu kakhulu masiyimemetela nje kusebhola sidobe sisakada bukhoma swabonile ama comments ama phone calls swabonile aphuma kuwe emaswati abonga ukuthi siyabonga Eswatini TV ukuthi ndabeni sisakadela lebhola kwabe seqhamuka kona lokho kwelokuqhamukile nathi ke lokho bese sekuya segila nathi emaplanini ukuthi sifuna kusebenta sabe sizakhona ukuyisakada yona leyo game lebeyidlala nje itolo sekuculisa nje kakhulu kuso sive semaswati sethembise ukuthi sitawubhila phansi sihlale nama stakeholders ethu sibona ukuthi moving forward ingabe ngikuphi la singalungisa khona sitokhona ukuthi le bhola isikhona kuyisakata singeSwatini TV.
Sifiso Bands mkhulusi lolisekelala emceceshi weMbabane Highlanders uthi kuba ngekho kwelinyenti lebadlali balelicembu kuphatamise indlela yabo yekudlala kodwa kukhona labakufundzile kulomdlalo. Kusile akhuluma ngemuva kokuthi iqembu lakhe likhale phansi kuMbabane Swallows ngamagoli lamabili ecanzeni emdlalweni weMbabane Derby ngaphansi kwendzebe ye-MTN Premier League emdlalweni lodlalelwe enkundleni yasemavuso. Letinye kapteni welicembu leMbabane Riders Nontsikelelo Mdluli uthi noma emacembu walomdlalo adlala esigabeni esisetulu akhomba kudlala kahle kodwa bona batimisele ekuchudzelana nawo noma bona balicembu lelisha kulesigaba futhi leli nebadlali labancane. Kapteni welicembu lelivikela lendzebe Royal Flames Cebile Sibanze uthi lendzebe noma kanjani batoyivikela njengoba bawende kahle umsebenzi wabo. Labo kapteni lababili bebakhuluma ngesikhathi licembu le-Royal Flames lincoba nga-106 ka-22 kuMbabane Riders emdlalweni we-league lodlalelwe Olympia Africa galobamba. Siyatiphetsa ngaleto temidlalo sibakuhlasana nathi isidaba hlelo emakethe nasibuya sidabe sicocisana na-clinical psychologist Ndoa Mdlalose.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
abaresearche bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita lokusemndeni.
Asenze sinemukele sakuvusela nawo losanza kusivulela sicubana nohlelo Kusile Breakfast Show esivedela ukuthi sidabe sicocisana na clinical psychologist Ndo Mdlalose sikhuluma nje ngama suicides lentekile lapha eVeni. Ngikusho kwembiko wamaphoyisa Royal Eswatini Police Service about 110 wama cases abantu labashiya emhlabeni ngokuthi batibulale abikiwe emaphoyiseni kusukela ngaJanuary kude kufika August kulomnyaka losetulu kanti ke lona ngombiko njengoba sengivedele ukuthi losuka emaphoyiseni. Kanti ke lejimbo leti tiyakhomba ukuthi bamvula batibulalako lapha emhlabeni noma lapha eVeni tinyukile lo nyaka compared to the same period eminyakeni lophelile. Kanti ke during the same period ngemnyaka wa 2023 there were 97 recorded suicide cases. This is an increase of 13.4% ngekusho kwawo emaphoyisa. Kanti ke lo mbiko uchubeka uvete nokuthi majority of those who committed suicide in the past 8 months bekubantu besilisa labangu 80 labangitolo kwa 80 sesivele sesinayeke lapha Ndo Mdlalose sokuva ukuthi ngabe vele kahle kahle yini letinkinga bobabe lababhekene nato nokuthi ingabe vele bangaticatulula kanjani kuya ngani ukuthi bobabe baticinzetele leti tinkinga bangatikhulumi. Ndo asekuvuselela mhla ekseni siyebonge kakhulu ukuthi ube nathi lumuhla noma singede sa focus nje kakhulu kubobabe kepha ke vele nayi report yaveta ukuthi bobabe ngibona batibulala kakhulu. Ingabe indzaba lena lesingayilungisa kanjani vele kuya ngani ukuthi bobabe baticinzetele letinkinga bangakhoni ukukhuluma ngato.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu angivusele eTV Maswati. Ibuhlungu lenzaba lokukhuluma ngayo namuhla and ishwaqisa ligogo. Unfortunately nedi nombolo lotishoko letithusanako atisito exact. Baningi bantu labakhanza ukuthi bayatibulala keja bafihle ngoba bayade ukuthi kutibulala kulamalanga kusho ukuthi abantu babo ngeke basathola ama-insurance policies, ngeke basathola ama-benefits as well as luhlazo nje lokuthi batibulele. So the figures that are so high and shocking are actually less than what it actually is. Singene ke endzabeni suicide masodlamahle. Sihlala sisho singama psychologists ukuthi Nkosi yami sonke ikakhulu even naseswatini kulamalanga vele tinkinga tisithongethe kakhulu tiningi kakhulu tinkinga lesibhekene nato ikakhulu tindzaba tetimali, economical reasons. These economical reasons are one of the leading factors ukuthi abantu labaningi bese bakhanza kusekude labangakwenda ngoba vele unfortunately bona iBhayibheli liyasho ukuthi uthanza imali imphansi yesono. However, without money there's not much that we can do. And as you were talking about men, ukuthi bobabe ngibo ngathi basekhudlanyana labakhonako kuyenda le suicide ibe successful. It's because bona it's an innate thing. Men are wired to be providers. But nasesibuka nyalo sekulukhuni for bobabe. Bobabe labanengi abasamthola umsebenzi. Sekunabomake kakhulu and bomake mhlawumbe sebasethi kundlela etingetulu kwabo, and men psychologically feel defeated because money was power to them. So nasebete le power, le imali or a proper job or feeling like a man, like the head of the house, they feel useless, they feel hopeless, and baba base bayanconcotha lapha nalapha kude lokubonakalako, and it looks like it's not going to get any better and anytime. So vele bese ucabanga ukuthi ibulala is the most sensible solution kibo at that time. And nasibuka lokho ukuthi the rates nasibuka overall mhlaba wonke jikelele according to WHO, the rates of suicidal attempts versus successful suicides, bomake baningi laba ngathi bayizama le suicide. But unfortunately, because siyesaba sibomake, siyabusaba buhlungu, singathi mhlambe siyatisika noma siyatikhunga ubese kumadima usheshe umemede ukhale manibete batokusida. Kanti indvodza yiko bese kuthiwa kadzeni isotsha alikhali, indvodza ayikhali. So indvodza inesibindi, ayinandzaba as long as lokhu kwendekile lokhu lakafuna kukwenda. And bobabe batholakala ukuthi basebenzisa methods la very strong and very toxic that they are sure of yokuthi utakwendeka lento yabo. Kanti thina mhlawumbe singanatha 2 or 3 maphilisi sifithe kona ukuthi manje sife, but nasingafi kube ngconywana. So suicide maswahla mahle, it could be ukuthi ukugula, une-depression. It could be ukuthi it's just something lefike ngaleso sikhathi, you are frustrated. Nakunyalo sekutaba khisimusi, umnyaka uyaphela, sekutocala isikolo again next year, awukacithi ibhadala school fees abantwana kulo mnyaka, sekutocala njani next year again. So many things are coming in on us. And sekumatima, we just have to feel like we don't have a solution. Siva ngathi kude lesi singakwenda sesikuzame konke. Kanti maye maswahla mahle siyanicela, i-suicide again siyachaza ukuthi bulala kuthatha impilo yakho akusiko i-solution. Instead, you are creating a problem for all the other people. Wena nocabanga ukuthi uyabasita ukuthi uphume etimpilweni tabo ngekufa, ubanga inkinga lenkulu because they will never forgive themselves. Even your own children, when I'm I feel like a useless father, I feel like a useless mother. Bebatawuphila kanconywana bathi ukuthi sinamake nababe, elise mathematics siyawenda, elise amaphethe siyawenda. Now they will feel like they are the reason bafikelane emhlabeni. They are the reason ukuthi bede badala because they had needs. So ngicela siyibuke le ndzaba ye-suicide maswahla mahle. It may look like a shortcut to problems, but it is actually the beginning of bigger problems. Nangabe ngisenaso isikhathi nje maswahla mahle, ngicela kuphindze futhi ngigcizelele lokho ukuthi inombolo zethu ikhula kakhulu kulamalanga, ikakhulu it's because of our economy. Tindzaba temali eMaswati yintfo lenkulu kakhulu ngiyacela asingasabeka umthwalo wonke kuhulumende kwananathi asisibukele ukuthi ngoba naku imali athabonakala impilo seyikabi seyimatima kade sokulalетiko what can I do ngingdomdlalose ngingenda njani nginani lengakhona ukukwenda ukuze ngikhone nami ukukhicita nami ngikhone ngisa abantu bami esikolweni nami ngikhone ngigcoke ngibe muhle nalitulu nje ngoba kunjena emakhaya abantu aphephukile umatima ngamakhadi inkinga ziningi tisukethe but let us use our brains ngicela sisebenzise ingqondo zethu sibuke kude into lede isolution kunye lokumcoka amaswati lamahle lokho ukuthi usenkingeni ngiyakucela akusho ukuthi ulibele akusho ukuthi vele vele bowucabangayo bokuthi wendani tala abantwana labangitheni bokuthi bokunjani benje yes we have made our mistakes but lokumnanzi is we must now see ukuthi okay acknowledge ukuthi ngiyendile lephutha lami lenjena vele ngiyadisola kuyeja ngingenda njani kuphuma kilo nekhokha abantu esengibafake kule nkinga lokho kakhulu nasune depression sokugula kuba inkinga because you can't think straight kune hormone thite lede longekho kuwe lamtimbeni that is why you then need to go and see a clinical psychologist health professional psychiatrist longakusita ukhone ubuya back emqondweni ukhone kubona lokuhle ukhone kubona nalokubi labanye baze badzinga kunatha amaphilisi depression kutokhona kwakha le dopamine le hormone le yenda ukuthi ukhone kubona into ngalenye indlela in a more clearer way so ungasabi luhlazo whatever your problem is reach out and talk to somebody
uthenze indzaba yebantfwana ngicathi nje kuhlabalema uthenze indzaba yebantfwana I think lokunye lokuvela konje kulama reports wona semaphoyiseni newaka-WHO indzaba yokuthi kulesinye isikhathi kuba i-conflict mhlambe letawendeka between both parents ngetindzaba tabo child maintenance bese-ke kuyendeka ukuthi kuba naloko kulwa badale mhlambe sebafuna ukubulalana noma-ke they end up wanting to commit suicide even ingabe how do we reboot our minds from the thought of committing suicide? How to avoid this from happening?
Yeah, thank you for that very critical question. Most of our children, as a coping mechanism, suicide is a solution. And but it can't and a source of giving these children a lot of ideas on how they can take away themselves from the problems that they feel. Baniketa abatali babo, make uyalona babe bayacabana bayabophana, uloyo mfana utiva ngathi nguye le nkinga. Social media. Konke ku-social media. Umfana uyakhanza vele atibutile abute lapha ku-Siri noma abuta kubani bani kubani ukuthi ngingaphuma njani nayinkinga nayo. Baze babatshele ama-ideas or a small child ukuthi angatibulala loku definitely can help for them to get out of the problem. So vele bantwana are now a huge risk kakhulu. They think suicide is a better option because they're seeing their parents suffer. Labanye, they blame themselves. I wasn't born. Ngabe mage akufuneka aye emakethe ekuseni lokwa. Ngabe babe abalwi namakethe because I am the problem. Bantwana masatla mahle sebangena kakhulu ngala kuma-suicidal ideation. A lot of children have suicidal thoughts and asikubuki lokho sicabanga ukuthi bantwana abati lutho. Baningi bantwana bethu la seba-depressed and kadzeni besathi ukuthi uba netinkinga ube ne-depression so ukhulakhulile but labantwana bayasibuka lamakhaya bayabona ukuthi makuyakhala baba ukwatile sekunathwa kakhulu lakhaya sekuyaliwa noma ngabe mhlawumbe ukhuluma nelicingo ucela umngane wakho umbani uyalalela uyabuka umbani uyakhona acela icingo athi ufuna kwento homework kanti uzama ukubuka indlela ukuthi angadibulala kanjani angaphuma kanjani so social media bekunene ngiyacela batali asiyigadze le social media ikabi kakhulu. It gives our children the worst of information. So we need to engage our children. Even if kunetinkinga lakhaya, asingakhali emafonini, cabanga ukuthi abantwana abasifoni. asingali ekubhaceni. These children can see, these children can understand, these children can hear ukuthi ngibo le nkinga bese ngiyobajakela kwetibulala. I-hope sebede i-hope labantwana abathi bayabuka, what's the point of going to school if I would be bullied, if ngidawuhlekwa ukuthi isikhathini sami sinjani, ngabe ngidohlekwa ukuthi icaphuta mntu idzabukile, nathishela une-stress sakhe usikhokhela la kimi all the time. Children are suffering and nababuya ekhaya make naye une-stress sakhe, nababa une-stress sakhe, they have no one to talk to. So siyacela naku etiko letemfundo nje Nkosi yami, indzaba yabo suicide ne mental health ayisalingena ka curriculum. Njengoba indzaba tabo HIV, indzaba tabo recreation, tekulalana, in a way level yabantwana ayingene i-mental health ku curriculum, bafunde ba-understand ke ma-emotions ukuthi you cannot be controlled by emotions, but you need to use your brain. And if you can't use your brain, you have to have a counselor, a person that you can trust, a person that is going to help you. Ayingene indaba yasekhaya without ukufaka enkingeni as a child.
Yeah, sasibuye nje kule report yasemaphoyiseni evetile ukuthi 110 suicide cases were reported from January to August this year, and 85 of those were males. Ingabe ke lena ke sesibuka kanjani, because some family members or singathi society does not allow or give men the opportunity to voice out their issues, hence they take their own lives. Ingabe ke what role can family members and the society play in helping men?
You know, ibuhlungu lendaba leyo because siyahlekana sisodwana. Kwana nathi sibomake siyakhona ukukutshela ukuthi hawu weak wena ungaze uyongicela emaphoyiseni uyindvozele njani abantu okuhleka. Isuka la kithi. Then we say men are cowards, men are what. But what are we women doing? How are we affecting our men, our boy child, our husbands, our lovers, our uncles, our cousins? How are we destroying them psychologically, mentally, indirectly? So vele le support idzingeka kakhulu la ekhaya. Nababe active ukuthi as much as I'm the head of the family, I am a human being too. I can go and report. There is someone who's going to listen to me. Meaning ngiyacela nje even kangwane akhona organizations yes abobabe, but still mancane kakhulu. Men are human too. Men need support. They find themselves good labangakhalela khona ngoba everywhere they go, most of them report ukuthi kuze kuhlekiswe ngabo. Nasemaphoyiseni ngiyacela siyathi ukuthi we are doing more than we are supposed to, but babe mlaleleni nimnike isikhundla sakhe, isigaba sakhe, angamemeti nje lapha eshanje ukuthi umkakhe yamshaya kunjani. Akube neligumba lakhe nje leli lakathi aba-private khona akhona ukubukisana ukuthi angakhona ukukhuluma namake noma angakhona ukukhuluma neliphoyisa lelisilisa njengaye, but o-interact-ana. It's still very difficult for men because kwana nasi siyabacompetela and make it impossible for them to seek help. Lokunye lengakucela again is men must also be abe nawo lama rights Nkosi yami judicially umthetho akhona kuba protector emadoda and mental health. Akusithi kuphela lesigulako sibomake esinabo stress nabo depression nabo high nani. It's just that thina sadalelwa ukukhuluma, siyakhona ukukhuluma noma ngakubani uyakhona ukukhuluma ukuthi hamu. But as a man it is difficult. So if we raise awareness kakhulu njengana hlelo lendaba namhla lihle kakhulu, siyacela akube kunengi bakhona bokwakha indvodza, kukhona ema initiatives akhonywana, but asesingene deep because they are the ones that are suffering the most and they feel they cannot express themselves. And sikhona Nkosi yami, as clinical psychologists, as counselors, we are there. And even if you've made the biggest mistake, there is no mistake that cannot be rectified. Noma ngabe umoshe kangakanani bhuti wami, babe wami, malume wami, ikhona indlela yokuphuma. Akunandzaba, asizivumele isono sethu lesendile, bese siyarepenta, singaphindi sisende, sithole usizo ukuthi in order to stop my anger, or in order for me to create money ngingebi, ngagembuli, ngingenzi into letikabi, ngingenda njani. So that is what psychotherapy is about. Lokuthi hayi nje ukuthi ungadibulali, no. Ungadibulali, yes, but siphila kanjani. Sikhona ukubuka iprofile yakho as an individual, sibone ukuthi ustrong ngala, uweak ngala, asende kanje, asende kanje. That is our job, and we are really being discouraged ukuthi sikhona, but you guys are not coming forth. Siyanicela buyani, we are ready for you, singema-psychologists.
Yeah, no, ngiyavakala ndo. Now shifting focus mhlambe to incidents nje lendeke evikini leliphelile. Sibonile imibiko eveta ukuthi bafundzi ma students, high school learners, kanjalo nabo teachers are taking their own lives last week. Le report nje emaphoyisa eveta ukuthi vele some of lama issues asukela endzabeni ukuthi bamfu baphuyile bahluphekile, letinye tizatfu i-GBV, peer pressure nje amongst other reasons. Ngabe vele how do you overcome this? Siphuma kanjani nje le nkinga lena? Yes, labanye mhlambe ngeke bakhona ku-afforda ke kuma psychologists njengoba usho, labanye abakhona ukukhuluma vele inkinga tabo. Ingabe vele how do we come out of this one?
Lena ngicela kakhulu sis, because yes, like I'm excited about this program today because somebody's life will be saved. Ngathi sibe ne-program onke lamalanga eradweni, emsakatweni, etindzabeni, ka-Facebook, kabo-TikTok, anywhere, ebhasini, kukhulunywe ngaleti ntfo leti, kungabi imfihlo, kungabi ukuthi into vele eliguma kusoyasukuma wena vele soyobona ukuthi uyokhuluma ngaloku, asikwende kube general. Mina ngahlala ngibekisa ngendzaba ye-COVID. I-COVID kwaba indzaba yethu sonke. Everyone was affected and everyone's akhona kuphuma because we were all together. So now, loku sekuhlukile leni. This mental health disorders are just like any other disorder. Sisilive, asiyendeni lento emiphakathini, everywhere. Kube yinto lesikhuluma ngayo, kungabi dibitendlu, kungabi lihlazo, ngoba vele sekugula lo sekusihlasele kakhulu. Umnotho kude lesingakwenza, nabo umnotho akalungi, but kunetinye indlela esingakhona ukubuka ngayo. Singakhona kulima kulamalanga sibusisekile ngetimvula, singakhona ukubuka letinye izinto lamanye amavila kawendawo ngoba na i-social media instead yokuthi isifundise ukuthi singafa kanjani, asithathe sibuka ukuthi singaphila kanjani, sifunze kulamanye amave ukuthi bona bela njani. Sikhona nathi ukuzamela ukutendela letimvo. It has to come from us. Kuqala, before we go and start blaming government, blaming lapha nalapha. I-economy ikabi, i-GBV ikabi kakhulu. That is where it comes to emotional intelligence. People need to know how to manage their feelings, their emotions. When you're angry, what do? When you're sad, when you're embarrassed, when you're humiliated, now uba bullied, nabe emsebentini mhlawumbe uthreatened ukuthi ungahlulahlekelwa ngumsebenzi, labanye shame nkosi yami solo, they have to do sexual favors for them to survive. Labanye have to do things that are degrading ukuze baze bakhone ukuphila. Do you really have to go that far? Asusuhlale phasi utibude ukuthi keja simakaze nakakulethe emhlabeni wakulethela ukuthi utohlupheka yini, ngoba uyasho ukuthi I'm the Alpha and the Omega. Who are you to then come and stop a life that the Lord has not finished ngayo? So let us reach out, guys. Asishayeni, asikhuteni, asisukumeni, sibuke ukuthi even if kudimali, even if lo mngani wami bengihlekisana naye udlala ngami, uhlekisa ngami, what can I do for myself? Before thinking of the next person, asicabangele thini, because nathi sitibulala sicabanga ukuthi sisithala abanye abantu kanti sibabangela inkinga leti. So the honors must start with you. Can it please begin with you? Aqale ngawe. Cabanga ukuthi ungenda njani, ungaphuma njani, ufa cha. So suicide is never and will never be a solution.
Alright, no, ngiyavakala sibonga kakhulu Ndo. Isikhathi sakho lomuhle sethembeka ukuthi isevisi yamaswati sivile seyithethe futhi nemiyalo yakho as clinical psychologist. That was nomdlalo clinical psychologist. Sithe kanje yena indzaba yama-suicide lesekubona kwangathi ayanyuka kulamalanga njengoba nje ngivedile ukuthi umbiko wemaphoyisa uyaveta ukuthi kusukela January kude kube ngo-August this year bantu labatibulele balinganiselwa ku-110 and kulabo labang-85 bantu besilisa bekusekuthi labang-25 besifazane. Saselikhefu nasibuya sibuka i-traffic update.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Asibinze silimukele kuselemizuzu lemine ukuthi kubumbane insimbi esikhombisa lomhlekiseni sitafuna ukuva simo semgwaqo ku Sergeant Nozipho Masekwa asikuvusele Nozipho ngabe kuhambe kanjani emigwaqweni lomhlekiseni.
Angivusele Thombeni ngiphinza ngivusele naye umbukeli wemsakazo wethu phela iSwazi TV. Imigwaqo even Eswatini sesihlolile njengoba nje sibona amaswati lamahle ukuthi liyana imigwaqo yethu imandi injalo futhi iyashelela kuxwayisa nje kubashayeli ukuthi abancithise litubane labo labahamba ngalo baphinde futhi balandelane kahle ngetigaba leti kahle phela batawukhona ukuthi nangabe khona lokwendeka kulona lo langembili bakhone nabo ukuthi beme kahle bangamshayisi lokunye nje lesekunaka ukuthi njengoba linile nje imigwaqo yethu inawo ema-potholes lamanengana namhlanje ambonywe wona phela emandi lagcwele emgwaqweni. Cela nje sibashayele abachubeke bashayele ngekuqaphela lokukhulu basahamba emigwaqweni lehlukahlukene even Eswatini nasichubeka nekuhlola imigwaqo yethu siyanaka ukuthi leminye imigwaqo yethu inato tinkhungu tikhansa phasi ikakhulu nje kusuka lapha kulukhula ungena khona esiteki emotshana usuka khona emotshane ungena khona nasembabane nawehla khona ngumalagwane liphinde tiyabonakala lapha kuhelehele nasemgwaqweni wethu wakugege ucela nje sikubashayeli basahamba kule migwaqo lena lesengiyibitile la kunetinkungu khona phela ukuthi abakhanyise emalambo abo ukuze batokhona kubonana nangabe kuyendeka uhamba kule migwaqo lenetinkungu siyabona ukuthi awukhoni ukubona phambili ngesicela nje siyacela singemaphoyisa nje ukuthi manje ukhoshele eceleni phela upaka imoto yakhe eceleni ufake wona ema-hazard ukuze batokubona labanye abashayeli tithathi tingaphakama tinkungu bese soyaqhubeka nehambo lwakho nasehla sihlola yona imigwaqo yethu lapha kamanzini edolobheni lethu lelikhulu e-Food Line nase-Riverstone tiba netemgwaqo akusitona letisebentako kahle ucela nje ukuthi bashayeli bahloniphane baphinde babeketelelane kulawo marobot lawo-ke nasichubeka khona kamanzini lapha emgwaqweni wethu lesubita nge-Central Distributor Road umgwaqo losuka khona emangwaneni ubheke khona emathayini siyanaka ukuthi timpawu temgwaqo leti-70 letakha wona temgwaqo tikhona tibekiwe phasi kucela nje ukuthi noma ngabe ti-70 temgwaqo atikho phela ngenxa yemvula asichubeke nesihloniphe letimpawu letibekiwe singahambi la kungafanele khona asihambe la kumele babeke khona ukuthi sihambe khona nasichubeka sihlola yona imigwaqo yethu sithatha umgwaqo losuka emhlaleni sibheke khona enhlangano lapha endasi eMkhondo Plaza lapha ngakakholwane eNazarene Church kunemhlabathi-ke lokhukhulwe ntona phela timvula ugcwele wona umgwaqo ucela nje ukuthi bashayeli nabahamba kule ndzawo lena balize ngalabo lekucaphela libe setulu kakhulu banciphise nelitubane baphinde phela babeketelelane lapho khona bashayeli bazama kuhamba kuleyo ndzawo leyo-ke ngalokunye siphinde sicele batali labamisa bona abantwana etikolweni nabomalume ukuthi abantwana siyacela babangenise ngekhathi etikolweni ukuze batawuthi baphephe bafunde baphilile. Phinde sicele ukuthi kungendeki lokho ukuthi bababeke ngale ngeshiya kwemigwaqo bese kudingeka ukuthi bawele wona umgwaqo nabo phela abashayeli asibacele ukuthi tabatakuhamba noma benge etindzaweni lapho khona kunetikolwa khona abanciphise litubane labo ukuze abantwana bangadoshayiseka tingako lesinato namhla Thombeni.
Sibonga kakhulu Maseko ukusivetela leyo mbiko lomhla ekuseni seyibumbene insimi esikhombisa sitabadlulete emakethe masinyane sibuye netindzaba tesingisi.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu sivile sive sithi khulumeni.
Welcome back. This is the news at 7. The Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Honorable Savannah Mazia, says that the ministry is continually educating students and communities about cybersecurity. The minister says the country has signed a memorandum of understanding with the United Arab Emirates to help Eswatini learn how to combat cybercrime. The minister made these remarks while presenting the ministry's quarterly performance report to the ministry's members of Parliament's Portfolio Committee.
The Minister of ICT, Honorable Savannah Mazia, when presenting the performance report, highlighted that the ministry had successfully implemented all programs it had set out to achieve. Members of Parliament of the ministry's Portfolio Committee raised several concerns, including issues related to cybersecurity, the phase-out of mobile phones still using 2G and 3G networks, and the situation at the Royal Science and Technology Park.
Kwangathi litiko lingafaka emehlo labantu latile endzabeni ye cyber bullying. Cybercrime is something angathi ndayibita ngokuthi mhlambeni sanda nezo zongena elive ngendlela ebhlungu kakhulu nasetikolweni.
Ngisengeva mina ngisho ilayisense lekhishelwe ema-commercial radio nema-television. Kuthi nangalapho sibambele.
To be precise, nandzaba ka-RCTP. Kuyabonakala ukuthi there's so much lokungahambi kahle. Bengifuna nje kuchecka ukuthi kuloko lebakutholako ku-audit noma kwendekani.
The MOU lesiyisayine base UAE. Sicela ukuthi we're going to send one person ayofunda ngale ndzaba yokuthi how are they dealing with it. And then sangenise nama ministries, singenise na parliament ukuthi sikwadi ukuthi bani bayotraina kahle.
In response, the Minister of ICT, Savannah Mazia, says that the ministry is planning to capacitate relevant individuals who will educate various departments within the ministry on cybersecurity. The minister says the country has a memorandum of understanding with the United Arab Emirates, which will assist in training these individuals. Minister Mazia also clarified that the ministry is not in a position to address issues related to salaries of independent media houses. Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Skhumbuzo Dlamini, Themba Shabango, and Bongani Masugu, Parliament.
On another note, members of Parliament from the Ministry of ICT's Portfolio Committee raised concerns regarding some of the issues reported at Eswatini TV.
Lapha TV nesikhalo lesikhulu uvuna kumbe khona inilonga ukuchaze nje mbamba ngoba ngivile kunebantu abakhulu abasuspendiwe basuspendwa nje ngathi bebakhulumela lilungelo lenkuva ngathi bekulilungelo labo but basekhaya lokusikhuluma solo basuspendiwe leni akuqedwanga nakukhulunyiswa la akubitolani kukhulunywe phela kuvakala ukuthi yini lesimbangela noma ke nangabe khona labone khona batokwadi ngoba ngiyabhelieve lokuthi litiko kufanele vele kubakuthole nangabe khona lokwabo lobake bebe bakufuna thundvu na through you chair kukhona into emamotivate ngawo vele nje asesikhulume nje indzaba yeti-70 ngoba litiko nangibuka liyagijima liyasebenza but ngaselishiye ti-70 talo ngemuva
The Minister of ICT, Senator Savannah Mazia, responded to these concerns.
Ndzaba ESTV, my understanding, honorable members, is that kwaba ne-internal process disciplinary, and before iphele or go its usual routing, laba suspendwa ngathi base baye enkantolo. Inkantolo yathi no buyani belele emuva kutophela le process. So we are in the process of doing that. I think it's important ukuthi we respect internal processes as a aphele. Sikhuluma ngekuthi i-BIS ayimejingani all this time kwenakalani. It's just because we don't have the money for the pensions. So the decision we've made, I said, listen, we're just going to do it. So sesikhwalo bahlobo sokhuluma nabo siyoboleka and just do it and against ifekanye.
Members of the Ministry of ICT Portfolio Committee have sought to know from the Minister, Senator Savannah Mazia, whether she has a good relationship with the Editors Forum. The Minister responded, stating that she values the media's role and expressed a desire for the media to be self-regulated.
Been working in the media forum for quite some time now, means about self-regulation. We believe it's very important to have a media that is free and able to report on all matters. I consistently say kuma media houses masihlangana nabo ukuthi nababhala funa basho ukuthi cha Minister ICT weba imali bangathi uhulumende wonke mubi basukele lo weba le mali because nalama investors nasabona ukuthi sonke sibabi angiboni sakade ajika thawu siyafuna ukuthi angalapha. So that's number one. What we want to be able to do is we want media houses, most of them are noble ombudsmen. So nababhale kabi somewhere, you can go to that ombudsman within the media house. I'm not happy. If we ungasi happy ngaloyo, we are going to have an appeals body that we as government are helping to set up right now. That's why media, the media houses, we are going to be able to contribute to that, but we can't contribute forever because we want it to be independent. So we're going to set it up. Even the media houses are struggling financially. I mean, one of the things that sometimes we must pause as government and appreciate is siyatsingana media sina hulumende. Ngoba le media ngelo tshela lesive ukuthi sisebenza phi ngibani lokuphi minister singu-20 lapha e-cabinet nani ni baningi lapha nimsebenzi wesive. But they manage somehow ukuthi basikhave in all the different areas. Sometimes it's good to acknowledge ukuthi ngena bo petrol ngena ini now le staff they are needing resources to be able to do that. Sometimes sifuna sikunake lokho but continue to support where we can and continue to say lapho kungahambi kahle khona sikhulume. We've got a very good relationship with the Editors Forum. We actually have expanded it because I felt ukuthi incane ngicala ibe more inclusive, that everybody atoti khulumela. We continue to bring them together. Last week's by bring it together. So comments about appeals bodies it is ESCom to be able to say tabane broadcasting part when the media media appeals body, so that everybody, whether it's from a regulator of telecoms or from the media side, you can be able to go to that situation.
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Senator Prince Lonkokela, says in order to ensure that the mining sector increases its contribution to the country's GDP to about 5 to 10% from the current 0.02%, government has issued a license for an additional coal mine and a number of prospecting licenses. The Honourable Minister said this during the preamble to his ministry's second quarter performance report for the current government financial year, which he presented to the ministry's portfolio committee in the House of Assembly.
After the presentation of the preamble to the second quarter performance report for the Minister of Natural Resources and Energy by Senator Prince Longokela, members of the portfolio committee then debated the report.
For me, it's a futhi ukuthi sesi-produce an electronic document le setaba lula nje ukuthi kusherishelwe ama-investors lamanyenti ingabe siyatini exactly ukuthi sinangakhi wema-mines la fully operational la kangwane nekuthi aqasha ngakhi exactly wemaswati.
Esera ucela mane suke lapha esera hlale la tikweni la hulumende ngoza toba nalo ukuthi avele lamaswati kanyalo lesivele emphakathini noma le enkundleni engisuka kuyo bakhanza lo ukuthi esera uphakelwa nge-EEC
khaliwe kakhulu nje ngendzaba yokuphakama kwemandi kude lokungakhala even ngicela ukuthi ke vele minister na usuka la hamba ukukhulumisana na water ubuyise ibill letawuthi asibane sibathole i-loan bill yokuthenga ama-prepaid meter.
The minister then provided some answers.
Nasalapha kahulumende nami ngasho ngimbithe ethi yiwena wentani manje say interference leyo inqinye na wathasha na isambita hey kwente njani cha ukashe nje abe independent i-ministry isebenzisana na water affairs seyihlanganise rural water na urban water sesine master plan yale live lonke kwekuthi emandi la atawuqhamuka kuphi kanjani live lonke besibhekile ukuthi by 2030 live lonke libe selinako emandi.
The minister then thanked members of the portfolio committee for the debate and promised to bring written answers for other questions. Reporting Mbangwadube, Skhumbuzo Dlamini, Lobamba.
The Honourable Minister of Health, Mduduzi Matsebula, says the availability of drugs in hospitals will be at 90% by December 2024. However, the minister says the current challenge faced by the ministry is that suppliers are cancelling orders due to concerns that the government may delay payments or fail to pay at all. To date, suppliers have cancelled orders worth 40 million emalangeni. The minister made these remarks while presenting the quarterly performance report of the ministry to the members of Parliament's portfolio committees.
The drugs sisukele kubo 32% saya kubo 61 and the target bahlonishwa ukuthi sibe plus 80 by December lwale nyanga letako. We will come back and report bahlonishwa. Sisebenzela ukuthi sithi siyakhisimusi sibe sibangelele kubo 90% nasehlulekile.
Regarding drug availability, we have made progress, increasing from 32% to 61%, and our target is to reach 80% by December 2024. The ministry will provide an update on this, and we are working towards achieving 90% by Christmas. Although if we fail to reach that target, we will address the shortfall. Currently, drugs are being delivered, and we have been able to carry out emergency procurement, especially for critical drugs. Chairperson, I must submit that we face several challenges. For instance, when we advertise tenders, some suppliers cancel their orders, citing concerns about delayed payments from the government. Some suppliers are only able to deliver about 70% of the ordered drugs. This year, suppliers have cancelled orders worth approximately 40 million, forcing the ministry to start the procurement process from scratch. Additionally, some of these challenges stem from the lack of bids, and certain employees who were suspended were the only ones trained in the necessary process. However, we have managed to outsource other experts to assist in addressing these issues.
Ngeke futhi uba replace asaphenda lamacala lenkantolo.
The Ministry of Public Works and Transport, in collaboration with the Road Safety Council, had launched a consultative program to review the Road Safety Act of 1983. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works and Transport, Tulani Mkalepi, says this consultation review is an effort to strengthen the already existing legislature and to try and match the United Nations standard on road safety.
Minister of Public Works and Transport Principal Secretary Tulani Mkalepi says it is important to have every citizen contribute to the proposed renewal of the current existing road safety laws. Mkalepi says it is because one way or the other, everyone uses roads.
2-3 years ago, there was a launch of the new decade of action launched at UN level. So His Majesty also visited there as well and also made an input in those discussions, and then tasked us to then get back to the country and see how we can then organize ourselves to ensure that road safety as the Road Safety Council and all the agencies involved in road safety issues are actually equipped enough to respond, to the problems associated with road safety.
Road Safety Council Chairman Dr. Fortunate Shabalala says as a council, they are working towards meeting the UN goals to decrease road accidents by 50% by 2030.
As we go about doing our activities, there are a lot of limitations that are brought about by the Act. And the Act is old and it doesn't speak to the situation as is today. And therefore, there was a need to actually review it. So today we are launching a program where we'll then be going out to do some consultations with the entire stakeholders, the public in different forms, pedestrians, drivers, employers of the drivers, school children, you can name them, cyclists and the like. So we'll be going out to do consultative meetings so that when we write the Act, it speaks to the issues on the ground, not necessarily just what we think are the issues on the ground.
The chairman says after completing their strategic plan in 2023, Eswatini received an award for having a good plan in the SADC region. She says because of this, Eswatini has been nominated to host the Kofi Annan Road Safety Awards next year. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I am Satabile Mamba, together with Mbongwa Dube in Ezulwini.
The full bench of the Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice Bheki Maphalala, says the issue of salary adjustments for junior officers from the Royal Eswatini Police Service and His Majesty's Correctional Services as part of the Phase 2 implementation is a critical matter involving hundreds of officers. Chief Justice Maphalala emphasized that the seriousness of this matter is evident in the involvement of all three arms of government, namely the judiciary, parliament and cabinet ministers.
The full bench of the Supreme Court of Appeal made this statement while presiding over an application filed by the Royal Eswatini Police Service Staff Association (REPOSA). The association seeks to stop the National Commissioner of Police and the Commissioner General of His Majesty's Correctional Services from suspending its members and preventing them from submitting petitions and attending meetings of the association. The association wants the Supreme Court of Appeal to review the decision made by the High Court full bench. While listening to the application, Chief Justice Bheki Maphalala assured that the full bench will make the right decision in the application before the court and on the issue of Phase 2. The Chief Justice further questions why the government found it suitable to implement Phase 1 for senior police officers but failed to implement Phase 2 for lower-ranked police officers and correctional services staff. He also questions why it has taken 10 years for junior police officers to receive their payments, particularly concerning the Phase 2 implementation that was initiated in 2014. He asked whether this is fair and pointed out that junior officers have been suspended over charges stemming from their association activities. The Chief Justice Maphalala states that the Staff Association is legal and recognized by law, that it advocates for the basic issues of its members. Lawyers from the Attorney General's Chambers, Mden Vilakazi and Henry Sbanze, state that they were not instructed to respond to the issue of implementing Phase 2 for junior officers. Supreme Court of Appeal Judge Pesheya Dlamini expresses shock that it appeared no one wanted to intervene in the Phase 2 issue. Lawyer Vilakazi says that the National Commissioner of Police has authority over the Staff Association. He accused that members are police officers first before being members of the association. He further adds that officers should not participate in demonstrations or picketing, but should engage with their employer through a roundtable discussion like other unions. Meanwhile, Staff Association lawyer Thabiso Mavuso reports that 22 members of the association have been suspended with pay for participating in activities of the association. Mavuso also states that the association is not allowed to bargain with other unions and that phase 2 only affects junior officers, not other civil servants. The court reserves its judgment. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, High Court.
In international news, Israel's Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich pledged on Monday to annex Israel settlements in the occupied West Bank in 2025, calling Donald Trump's return to power in the United States an important opportunity.
It's another sign that the Israeli government could be preparing to annex parts of the occupied West Bank. On Monday, Israel's far-right finance minister pledged to extend sovereignty to Israeli settlements in the Palestinian territory.
The only way to remove the threat of a terrorist Palestinian state from the agenda is to implement Israeli sovereignty over all of the Judea and Samaria settlements.
Bezalel Smotrich, who also oversees Israeli settlements, said he had ordered preparations to apply sovereignty over the colonies, home to some 500,000 Israeli settlers. The vast majority of the international community considers these settlements illegal under international law. Their annexation would be a major and highly controversial act, though Smotrich said he hopes to soon have the support of the United States. The finance minister said Donald Trump's victory in the US election brings an important opportunity for Israel. During his first term, Trump reversed a long-standing White House position that Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank were illegal under international law, and also moved the US embassy to Jerusalem. A spokesperson for the Palestinian Authority's presidency said Smotrich's remarks confirmed the Israeli government's intention to seize control of the West Bank, and also pointed the finger at the US.
We hold the Israeli occupation authorities fully responsible for the repercussions of these dangerous policies. The United States was also responsible for the continuous support it offered to Israel's aggression.
Smotrich's comments come shortly after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appointed a new US ambassador. Yair Lapid, who is also a staunch defender of Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank.
That's it from the Kremlin dismissed on Monday reports that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump had spoken to Russian President Vladimir Putin in recent days as pure fiction, saying it saw no signs the West was ready for talks.
That a phone call took place between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump have been categorically denied by Moscow.
You know, this is the most illustrative example of the quality of the information that is now sometimes published, even in fairly respected publications. This is completely untrue. It is pure fiction. That is, this is simply false information. There was no conversation.
The story first broke in the Washington Post and then made its way through major American and international news outlets. According to anonymous sources, during the phone call, Trump told Putin not to escalate the war in Ukraine. The narrative fits with Trump's campaign messaging, in which he repeatedly claimed that he would end the war in less than 24 hours. However, he still has not specified how he plans to do so. Under the Biden presidency, the US appropriated more than $174 billion to Kyiv. But Trump's election has sowed concerns among the outgoing administration that the new US government will scale back its military funding.
We do need ongoing resources for Ukraine beyond the end of his term, because the threat to Ukraine will remain no matter what exactly happens on the battlefield or at the negotiating table, and the United States should not walk away from its commitment either to Ukraine or to 50 nations that we have rallied in defense of Ukraine in both Europe and Asia.
The Kremlin claims that Putin is ready to discuss Ukraine with Western leaders. However, it has made no suggestion that Moscow will change its demands, and says there are currently no plans for Putin and Trump to speak. It is unclear why they denied the phone call so quickly.
President-elect Donald Trump on Monday named more members of his incoming administration picked from his inner circle of loyalists, including an ambassador to the United Nations, head of the Environmental Protection Agency, and a border Caesar tasked with overseeing mass deportations.
Donald Trump made the announcement on his Truth Social network that Tom Homan, as his border czar, would be in charge of one of his signature campaign pledges.
And it will be the largest deportation in the history of our country, and we have no choice.
In practice, Trump's plan will be obstacle-ridden. It's estimated that there are some 11 million people living illegally in the United States, 7 million of whom are known to the government. Nearly 80% of them have lived in the country for a decade or more. Immigrants who are in the country illegally have the right to due process before their removal, and a drastic increase in deportations would likely clog up the courts, which are already beset by backlogs. Trump also plans to use a 1798 wartime statute known as the Alien Enemies Act to rapidly deport alleged gang members, a law that was used during World War I and II to intern people of Japanese, German and Italian descent, and whose use would almost certainly be challenged in court. Trump's plan would furthermore require a huge law enforcement force, massive detention facilities, airplanes to move people, and nations to accept them. The president-elect told NBC News there is no price tag to implement the plan. In practice, the cost is likely to run into the tens or even hundreds of billions of dollars. The implications of such a policy could also fundamentally reshape the country's economic landscape. Unauthorized immigrants represent about 4.8% of the workforce. If the plan targets them, sectors like construction, housing and agriculture will be hit hard.
Donald Trump's supporters in California, a state that went for his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, have been celebrating Trump's presidential election victory. This comes as the state's Democratic governor has called for a special legislative session to protect the state's progressive policies from a Trump presidency.
Dozens of flags, tires, plates, even shoes. California retired U.S. Marine Jerry Piani carries Donald Trump's name on nearly everything he owns. Supporting Trump as an outsider from Washington's political elite, Piani has been advocating for the Republican candidate for the last 8 years.
What a relief it was off my chest, because without that, there's no other place to go. This is the last bastion we got. America's the only place we got to go. Where else can you go to have freedom like you have here and have a constitution? So this is very important for us.
Trump supporters in Los Angeles this past weekend celebrating the victory filled with noise and flags Griffith Park, Hollywood Boulevard, even Santa Monica Pier. California Republican couple Rebecca and Roland Casey have joy mixed with grief. They are mourning Roland's 2 nephews and a cousin who recently died from a fentanyl overdose.
And it's killing a lot of blacks, and basically not just blacks, but my family. That was 3 family members of mine that I love dearly, that I helped raise, and then now they're not here anymore because of fentanyl coming from China through Mexico into the United States. We know that the borders, they must be shut down. And you have to have secure borders. You don't have secure borders, you don't have a nation.
Rebecca Casey says they were hoping Trump would be elected in 2020.
It had to happen this way.
Yes.
You know, he was president for 4 years, and I really believe that a lot of things had to be exposed. The Lord allowed him just to take a sit down for only a minute, which he didn't stop even then. We're following him every step of the way.
California Governor Gavin Newsom last week asked the state's legislature to increase legal funding to defend California from potential Trump's White House attacks on abortion rights, electric vehicle regulations, immigration policies, and federal disaster aid. Michelle, another Trump supporter, who despite her candidate's victory did not want to give her last name, fearing it might affect her job in Hollywood entertainment, said she believes that more Californians might choose the Republican Party come next election cycle.
Once he gets into office, like really into office,
I think so many people are going to just be living their best life.
In the 2020 presidential elections, 63.5% of Californians voted for Democratic nominee Joe Biden versus 34.3% for Trump. In 2024, Harris got 58.2% and Trump 38.9%. The last time a Republican presidential candidate won California was George H.W. Bush in 1988. Genia Dulo, VOA News, Los Angeles.
Anna, we moved to the United States from Ukraine 25 years ago. Four of her Ukrainian relatives fled the country and joined her after Russia invaded in 2022. They settled in North Carolina.
When we used to farm here, winter squash, basil, garlic, we had all kinds of things here. Some plant potatoes.
Ukrainian native Anna Wiebe has lived in North Carolina for over 20 years. After Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, her mom, sister, and her sister's husband and son came to join her. But when the remnants of Hurricane Helene caused massive flooding in late September, Wiebe's Ukrainian family was among the over 100 North Carolinians killed.
So water was rising from here and there, and from the side. They couldn't get out in the woods. We got back again here, and the water still was high, but I already could see that obviously if they was here, I would be able to see the building or house. And I just got numb, and I was like, I don't see them, they're gone.
The trailer where they lived sat here on the banks of the South Tow River until flooding from Helene swept it away.
It was a flood zone, and it was raised up 5 feet up from the ground on a cement concrete blocks or whatever, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful spot, nothing like what you see right now.
Search groups found the bodies of Anna's sister, 42-year-old Anastasia Navitny-Segin, and her husband Dmitro. Her 73-year-old mother Tatiana, who was sick and bedbound, as well as her 13-year-old nephew Yevgeny, were never found.
What is sad to me is that, they escaped the Kherson in Ukraine, and they went through a very hard time to get here. And a lot of people helped them to get here. And it's just sad I couldn't keep them safe here. Kind of like feel that probably my fault.
Wiebe's husband Ryan shot this video from her home's porch on September 27th at 8:54 a.m. The first floor of the family home got completely flooded. Windows got smashed. One of the walls gave way to water. As the family was trying to escape, Wiebe kept thinking about her relatives. At the time, there was already no cell connection. Today, she remembers how her mom had asked to be buried in Ukraine.
We was talking about that just recently because my mother was already on hospice and they asked those type of questions. And we come up with that she wanted to be cremated. Some part of it she wanted to be spread around here. And part of it to go back to Ukraine.
Wiebe hopes to fulfill that request after she processes her loss. The storm is estimated to have caused over $50 billion worth of damage across the state. The Wiebe family is hoping for help, but has started a GoFundMe page to help start rebuilding their home. The family has raised over $49,000, but none of that will bring back Anna's loved ones. For Rafael Saakaf in North Carolina, Anna Rice, VOA News.
In our sports news, Eswatini TV Senior Communications Officer Nomcebo Malinga has expressed the authorities' apology for failing to broadcast live the M10 Premier League Mbabane Derby this past Sunday, as promised to the viewers of the national broadcast.
Eswatini TV had the plans and the wish to broadcast the Mbabane Derby, which was a match between Mbabane Highlanders versus Mbabane Swallows. It was a much anticipated soccer match. The public was very excited the moment we announced that we'll be going live Sunday from 3 p.m., bringing them premium quality soccer match, which was taking place, at Mavuso. Unfortunately, due to a few technicalities, that showed up on the last minute, Eswatini TV was unable to broadcast this game live as it was advertised and promoted on social media and on Eswatini TV and other platforms as well, your print media. So as an organization, Eswatini TV would like to apologize to the public for this unfortunate mishap. This was really not our wish for such an endeavor or such an occurrence to actually occur. So we greatly regret what occurred yesterday. It was a much anticipated game. We were all excited. The broadcasting team was excited. Everyone was just ready to actually get to work. But unfortunately, due to a few technical problems, we were unable to broadcast the game, and we were very apologetic as Eswatini TV.
Mbabane Highlanders assistant coach Sfiso Mkulisi has expressed their club's injury concern as one leading cause to have lost the Mbabane Derby this past Sunday at the Mavuso Sports Centre in Manzini against Mbabane Swallows under the MTN Premier League.
Following Mbabane Highlanders' 2-0 defeat against Mbabane Swallows in the M10 Premier League Mbabane Derby this past weekend, Highlanders assistant coach Sfiso Mkulisi says there were some positives that they took from the game. Mkulisi says majority of the defenders, especially central defenders, have been absent due to injuries, with the hope that they will return in the next game. Mkulisi says some of their international players also could not feature in the game due to work permit issues. He, however, says a lot of positiveness were noted in the game. For Mbabane Swallows head coach Kalim Gwenya, his boys outdid themselves.
We can take the opportunity and appreciate the effort of the boys. I think we tried to play the game in both halves. We did not start well. We beat always behind, but we improved. As the game grew, we improved with the game. But the energies could show that we, at the end, we struggled a bit and again gave the game to them. But I understand it was the energy levels, they dropped. But we appreciate the results.
Swallows are back at the summit of the league with 18 points in 7 games, with Highlanders remaining on 10th position with only 7 points. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera with Patricia Msibi and Linda Dlamini, Manzini.
It's 26 minutes before 8 o'clock, and that's it for our second bulletin. Thank you for staying with us. After the break, we talk to Gwaka Invota Executive Director Sonic Dlamini on gender-based violence in men.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze
being risky it means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita lokhu sekungile.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7 hash. Or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Welcome back. Siyakuvusela nawo lothandza kusivulela. It's 20 minutes before 8 o'clock. Besivelile ukuthi sifuna ukukhuluma kabanti ngendaba ye gender based violence ikakhulukazi kubo babe ngoba nabo sekuvelile ukuthi bayahlukubeteka bobabe. I'm joined by the director wenhlangano yokwakha Invota. Lekuyinhlangano nje lebuketwa natindzaba bobabe lezama kuphuma ukuthi iye kubo babe iyoxoxisana nabo ngetinkinga lababhekana nato. Dokumele ukuthi the past few weeks ke sabona imibiko yokuthi kunabo make lababili labatikhanze bavela enkantolo ngokuthi bahlukubete bobabe babathinta etindzaweni itangansense. Sisivele sinaye lapha umlangeni ngoba sekuvesele lo mhla ekseni tindzaba leti chapisanako kakhulu lokuthi vele sathe kakhulu ukuthi iGBV yendeka kubomake kepha nabo babe sekavele lokuthi vele kukanengi lapho kuvela ukuthi bahlukubeteka nabo vele nasibuka vele gender based violence sesibuka nje lapha eSwatini inganani impact yayo.
Oh, sibonga msakato wami. iGBV isetulu kakhulu la ekhaya. Ngithatha nje lethuba ngivusele onke eMaswati labukele wona umsakato eSwatini TV namhla ekuseni wonke amagumba amane elive. Libito lami ngisonic ngokaDlamini ngingumcondzisi wakwakha Invota. Njengoba sowubutile nje tinombolo tethu nama statistics ayasho ukuthi 1 in 3 women have been affected or been exposed to some form of violence, whether it's sexual, physical, and or otherwise. But that also goes to say that even men too are affected. I think on the side of men is mostly because GBV happens ngetindlela etahlukahlukene, kungaba physical, kungaba emotional or psychosocial, or kungaba futhi socio-economic abuse. So ikakhulu uthola sibobabe abuse ikakhulu letindzaba takubo tetimali la uthola ukuthi kumbeke sengilapho la uthola ukuthi kumbe sonale stress noma ukukhathazeka emoyeni lokudzide lokumkhanza ukuthi naye ativele angasesiye umuntu angasesikolutho even kungako nje ema-statistics ethu uthola ukuthi bona banda kakhulu i-suicide noma ukuthi ikhunga noma ukuthi ibulala. Ema-statistics ethu akhomba ukuthi men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than the other gender. Sibonile nje ama-statistics la khona kulamanga laba bawakhipha over 110 ama-suicides lakhisha amaphoyisa solusuku lomnyaka. and the majority of those, I think over 80%, abe committed by men. So ngilokukhomba kona-ke noma ngiletinye tingcinamba noma tinkhomba letikhomba ukuthi kukhona lokububutha lokukhona ngekhathi kumuntu. Isikhathi lesiningi emadvodza ayakufukama lobuhlungu lanabo. Labanye futhi-ke ngekukufukama sebenta tintfo letifaka ekhatsi ukuthi kumbe sowudla tidzakamiva noma sowuhlala njena angumuntu lobinzile noma uthanda ukuhlala yedwa angasafuni ukuhlala nebantu. Lo ngilabo-ke labakufumala ngekhathi. Kupha laba lokuthola ukuthi sekungedulu kwabo sekububuthe kwaze kwafika ukuthi sekusuka nentuthu sekuyavutha. Ukhanza ukuthi ngilapho sebashaya khona-ke sebenta lokwanalokwa labanye igcine-ke futhi sebadibulala njengoba sakhuluma ngakho. Siyathi-ke ukuthi vele nawo baya-abuseka njengoba sowuchazile kulamalanga nje sekwekwatuma ukuthi bayababhujunga kunabosisi lesabona indlela lenye nabo yokuthi kumbe bativikele kulawo madvodza ngoba singete sathi ukuthi kwenteka uthi umbhujunga nje kumbe bese kuliwa noma bese kucatshela bese kungasabonwa ngasolinye. So ubona na indlela elula lapho umuntu lomduna amncane ngakhona. Ungamthinza-ke umuntu lomduna enzaweni yakhe yangansense vele usuke uthinze indzawo le sensitive sensitive kakhulu lendzawo leyo. Indzawo leyo ifana neliso noma ngabe into lencane kanganani iba buhlungu. So into lesingayikhuthati leyo onke emaswati lakhona ngoba phela i-GBV ayingabukwa nje ngesolinye ukuthi ayi into yabomake kuphela into yabobabe. Nebantwana bebafana nabobabe nabo bayaba exposed ngetindlela etahlukahlukene. Sekuthi isikhathi lesiningi sivamise ukukhulumisa lokuthi hayi bomake labashayako bomake labahlukumetekako bomake labanjanjani nebantu abemantombazane. So-ke uthola ukuthi sesimshiya emuva olomntwana wemfana noma-ke umntwana lo ngumfana noma-ke ubabe noma-ke lijaha sesibashiye ngemuva bona tinkinga tabo asiyasakhulunywa kahle eveni. Sewukhanza ukuthi ngilapho-ke bona sebabathe babuka sitawuphuma sibhekephi sitawenta njani. So yakufukama-ke kuyamlimata-ke so ugcina-ke wenta lokhu lesithi namhla kuyingcinamba eveni.
Nkosi besikhulumisana earlier njengafa 6 besikhulumisana na clinical psychologist sitikatona tindzaba leti tekutibulala kwabobaba. I think indzaba nje lenkulu ayivetile ngiloku ukuthi vele nanyalo bobaba kulukhunyana ukuthi bangakhuluma nje sinoma ngetinkinga tabo ngaloko ukuthi bona i-society ibabona njengebantfu laba strong labaqinile labangeke nje bakhona ukuthi babike ukuthi bayashaya noma bayahlukubeteka. Ngabe nani saphumile nje nibana letingcoco nabo bobabe imvela bayivetako indlena niyakhona vele ukuthi vele niba convince ukuthi abatikhulume letinkinga.
Yeah. Ikwaqala angiconzise lokuthi i-GBV noma ke budlangdlang bekucekelana phansi ngokwebulili kuyenteka in public spaces phindze kwenteke in private spaces. Ngicabanga ukuthi kakhulu lokwabobabe kwenteka in public spaces ikakhulu lapha emakamerweni first bobabe ngilapho balimala kakhulu khona bathethiswa babidwa noma ngabe yini ngabe ngiliphi igama labanye bayethuka. Sengilapho uthola khona ukuthi baba kasathi utawuphuma abheke kepha nakaphumela ngephandle kunebantwana kufuna akhombise buso lokuphilile nalobune buholi nalobuneluthando la ekhaya noma ngabe uphuma ekamerweni ubuhlungu kufuna aphumele emangweni nakhona umango oyamdzinga oyamsebenzisa. So diningi letinto lothola ukuthi akasakhoni akakabhekeki futhi ngekwendalo nje yethu nangekwe kukhuliseka ukuthi cha phela indvodza ayikhali. Ufuna ukuthi kwatiwe ukuthi nawu kwaze kungavela tinyembe tendvodza kusose kulukhuni bami. Indvodza vele iyatifihla. Ngilapho-ke lapho kulimala kwenteka kakhulu khona ngesikhathi singabhoboki singakhoni nekukhuluma noma-ke leto tinkinga lesihlangana nato kumbe kulabo lesibethembako nalabo lesathi ukuthi bangasinika kumbe indlela yekuphuma kuleyo nkinga lesikhona. Kungenteka nje uthola ukuthi inkinga yakho ekhaya inkinga ukuthi wena njengababe ugatsekile noma ukuthi ubhekekile kwekuthi phela ubeke kudla etafuleni ukuthi bantwana badle ukhona ukuthenga impahla ukhona nokuthi lendlu lekhona lapha ekhaya nayo ibe ngilebukeka icavile. Nangabe ungakhoni-ke kudenda kukwenda lokho vele sithundi sakho lapha ekhaya siya kulahlekela nesimilo nalolo hlana uthola sina sesiyamlahlekela sakhona ukuhlonipha ngoba phela vele bathi buhle bendvodza itolo besithi sibaya namuhla sewubona ngebantwana sowubona nangelikhaya labanye sebazi babesa ubona ngemoto lahamba ngazi cha le ndvodza lena iyasebenza iyadmisela na ungakhoni ke dininge tingcinamba tingendathi indvodza ingakhoni noma ke umuntu lomusha lomduna angakhoni kufikela kule ndzawo le kwindeka ikakhulu njengoba uyati sinenkinga ikuyo sola kwemsebenzi lapha eveni and imisebenzi iyachubeka iya ngekushabalala tiyavala tinkampani kuningi nalokwendekako inzengo yekudla iseyenyuke kakhulu noma ngabe uthi uhambile wazabalaza la uzabalaza khona ukhanza kwekuthi le mali lena loyitholile ayisiyo leyanele ukuthi ungahlangabetana tonke tidzingo letikhona ekhaya ngilapho ke uthola ukuthi kumbe bomake sebathi hawu uyindvodza njani wena lele ngakhona kumele umndeni wayo emadvodza asibili ayakhona kwenda nako bese ke sebacala ukukomperisha sekusuka ke budlwangudlwangu nemsindo ekhaya kuyasuka kuyabhenga kuyashona edulo uthola ukuthi indvodza ayisakhona ekhulumisa abantwana kahle ekhaya seyinelaka seyinjani vele nje la khaya sekude kuthula sekude nenthokoto sekude neluthando
kulama conversations leni nibe nawo nje nabo bobabe la emimangweni nihambe nifike phi kuba sita Nkosi bayanicocela inkinga tabo mhlambe kuba i-dialogue kuyacocwa naloyo yakhuluma naloyo yakhuluma kepha nihambe nifike phi kukhona mhlambe ama-counselors psychologists bese nibathulela bona kodwa batothola lolusito noma mhlambe ni mix inzaba bama-poison nihambe nifike phi vele kuba niketa lolusito
kushiyana loluhlobo labalubikile kepha nje siyaxoxisana cishe sizama yonke indlela njengoba wathi ukwakha indvodza sonemalanga akhona lapha eveni kusukela 2012 solo aqala sikhulumisa indaba tayo i-GBV sisebenzisa nalabanye labakhona eveni ku-the gender space lesikukhulumisa kakhulu ngilokuthi phela ababhoboke sinalo nje lolu hlelo lethu lelisibhoboka la sisibhoboka bekhona nabo ababhoboke ukuze batokhona kuphila nangabe kunalelo thumba lelibhlungu uthi silichushute phela kutophuma lobovu lobenda ukuthi kube nebhlungu bese sesiyasho ukuthi ke leli thumba leli libangwe ngunako ngoba kumcoka nalokwathi lokuthi yini imbangela yalenkinga yakho lohlangana nayo nekuthi singayi sita kanjani ukuthi ungaphinzi ukuthi ikhanze seyikubambini sinabo ke bantu lesikhulumisa nabo ama psychosocial officers ethu siphinze siwende nema referrals ukuthi cha phela asekwenduke ema therapy siyawenda nje nema couple therapy nangabe athi teba bayatinkinga isemkhathini kwamnaba kwanamake siyabacela nosicha ningeta sitonikhulumisa sibakhulumisa ngalendlela kungesesikhathi uthola ukuba ngilomake lothi uyati mina umyeni wami ngiyamthanza kepha nginanathi inkinga nathi bese sesiyabuka ukuthi okay yini lesingabasita ngako le mimangweni nje siye sibabide vele labo basihlale phasi esihlahla sivule lelo sango sikhulumisane ngetindzaba letimcoka ekhaya letikhomba ukuthi kuba indvodza yini kwekucala nethi ukuthi phasa kwendvodza yini sibafundzise nangemithetho lekhona eveni leta wenda ukuthi kumbe bavikele noma bagweme ukuthi batikhanze sebenta kucala ngoba phela kucala kushaya umuntu noma ngabe ukwade kanganani kubeka sandla umuntu kucala eveni umthetho nje wasoto ukubeka ngasobala futhi kucala ke nekwethuka noma usebenzise emagama lamabi kumuntu umbite ngalokwa nangalokwa kubucala futhi nekuthinza umuntu wesifazane umuthi ke ungayitholi nemvumo yokuthi ungakwenda lokho so ngiletinye tinto lesiye sibatshele ngathi ukuthi cha nini nekusoma nje indlela yekusoma sekufuna ube nenhlonipho ibe nesizotha kuze nalona lokukhuluma naye atokhona ukulalela aweve emagama akho ungachamuki sowulidlapha ungachamuki sowuchwaga sonelidlame uthi akakukhulumise ngenkani uyayincenga nje intombi namhla ikhulumise kusasa ingakukhulumisi kuze into beyivele yenteka itolo le ukuthi cha intombi uyahamba uyimele emfuleni uphinze ubuye nangabe futhi isho ukuthi yewena kunini angiyithanzi lento lena uyayema so ungabuka letinye indlela akumbe songacela bangani bayo bakukhulumele noma ke lo ngakhona ukuthi umbe ladvutane naye ehlitweni sangakhulumela siyatikhulumisa tindzaba tetimali ngobe nato ngiletinye phela letinkinga letingcinamba ekhaya siyatikhulumisa tindzaba tekukhuliseka nekunakekeleka nje kwemntwana umntwana wemfana kunakekeleka komntwana wentombatana siyatikhulumisa netindzaba nje temitsetfo lekhona even ukuthi cha phela bantfwana nabo bavikelekile siyatikhulumisa nje kakhulu indzaba tabo child protection ngoba phela bantfwana nabo sesibonile ukuthi ngilabanye labatholakala sebasenkingeni nasebomake nababe sebacabene ekhaya kungenteka ngumake locabene nababe kungenteka ngubabe locabene namake kepha nje bantfwana uthola sebasenkingeni so bese ke sesithi ke nangabe lenkinga ingetulu kwethu kwaloko lesikhona ukukwenda sesiyaxoxisana ke nalabo labakhona boza kwethu lesisebenzisana nabo phela emangweni ukuthi cha asenisibukele nayindzaba nayi kumbe bona batawukhona asenisibukele nangabe indzaba lezi ngathi emaphoyiseni nakhona futhi siyawacela emaphoyisa ekakhulu ngoba siyasebenzisana nawo emaphoyisa siphinzeke sikhulumise tindzaba tifaka khona abantwana luthola ukuthi ngasesikhathi ubakhanza sebalapha ejele lebantwana lapho kucondziswa khona tigwegwe kuthi nabo labo bantwana labo abakhuliseke ngendlela leneluthando letawubentatsi ngalelinye langa babuye nabacedza lapho labo babekwe khona babuye babe bantu even futhi labo bantwana labo bangachaza kulabanye bantwana ukuthi yebe kunene mina nje ngize ngena la nasizathu nanasi lento lena inebungoti khwesha kuyo so ngiletinye ke tetindlela esitisebenzisako kepha nje lebe ngingachaza kakhulu ukuthi lendzaba le ye-GBV indzaba yethu sonke even kudzinga ukuthi sibambisane ingilo abambe lapho angabamba khona adlala ichaza langalidlala uyathingakala hulumende nemithetho yakhe nangalowo mathuluzi lawabekile nangaleto ke tindlela lasetikhona latibukile latithethe kumbe kamhlabuhlangene siyathingana nathi nje singema organization ukuthi sikhulume ngavilinye ngingachamuka nyelanga ngikhuluma lokho nawe uyachamuka ukukhuluma lokho sikhulume ngavilinye ukuthi lo mnangjana lenkhulumo lesikhulumako yale GBV ivakale wonke umuntu siyathingana ngisho nasemasontweni ukuthi bafundise bakukhulumise ngijabule nje kakhulu kule mpela sonto bengilapha emphakathini esibovu emgcwabeni bathi tena sekukhuluma umphakathi wevakala lo khuluma nomphakathi ayikhuluma lendzaba ukuthi bomake abangashaywa bantfana bemantombatana abangahlukubedwa waphinze wagcizelela nalabo make wathi cha nani bomake phela nani nendlela yokuthi ningayincoba lempi lena ngokuthi nani ningabi nebudlangudlangu ningasusani imphunga nemadvodza noma ke nebafana nibakhulumise kahle nichubeke nihloniphane ngoba lokutawakha live nesive senkosi inhlonipho so ngikujabulela ukuthi boba betikhulu lebe solo sekusho sebayaqala bayakukhuluma nasemasontweni sibhekile ukuthi kube into le kanjalo nakuto tonke nje tindzawo emi-17 baphathi bayikhulumise lendzaba ngoba phela ihambe ibe inkinga uthola ukuthi nje namuhla utawuthi uyafika ekseni so ukhulumisa kabi naba labanye boza kwena bomnakeni lo sebenta nabo lana bothatha wena so bathi hawu wasiphendula kabuhlungu kangaka ekseni kusalo nakwendekeni kanzi kunento lekhaya lemlimatako la ngakhona ukuthi kumbe angayikhuluma
kokugcina nje kafishane nje ngos 30 seconds nasibuka nje nasikhuluma nge-social media sathi ukuthi nebubi bayo nebuhle bayo kepha nine nje nihlangano nanisebenzisa buhle bayo ngimiphi imetamo lenisebenzisa ukuzama ukupromota nasingathi men's involvement in the prevention of GBV 30 seconds
cha siyapromota ka social media bo Facebook sikhulumisa ukuthi cha i-GBV solo inkinga eveni nekuthi ungadisita kanjani sikhulumisa indzaba la mental health nekuthi singikwakha indvodza usithola kanjani nawudzinga lusito.
Alright, kuyavakala sibonga kakhulu Nkosi Mbukeli benguyeke lo yomcondzisi wenhlangano yokwakha indvodza Eswatini side kanje naye tindzaba the gender based violence ikakhulukati kubo babe njengoba nabo sekuvela ukuthi vele bayahlukubeteka kepha ke kuseselikhulunyana ukuthi baphumele ebaleni bavetele ukuhlukubeteka kwabo seselikhefu lesifishane nasibuya sasa sita uvala lihlelo.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Ujala masoda mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu sivile sive sithi khulumeni.
It's 8 minutes before 8 o'clock. We've come to the end of our program. This was Kusile Breakfast Show, your Tuesday edition. Thank you for tuning in. If you've just joined us, also on YouTube, Eswatini TV. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow at exactly 6 a.m.